No, I just figure out how to do it. Only 7.
Good morning, everyone. Let's please quiet down. Let's start. The summer of AI. Well, Lee, the director of CITL, couldn't be here, so I will deliver these opening remarks in his stead. I won't be able to speak as eloquently as he does, so please bear with me, but I will use his notes. And to say that I'd like to welcome you all to the summer of AI. We're beginning with this Gen AI Showcase in its 4th iteration already. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? Every day we receive multiple notices about AI, new companies, new tools, new ways that AI is becoming an essential part of our daily lives. No longer a novelty, AI has affected every field of study, every organization, and almost everything we do each day. In higher education, we have a particular responsibility to explore the ways that AI is having an impact on research in the disciplines, and especially in how we teach and on how students learn. This Summer of AI is a joint effort between the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning, Tech Services, the NCSA, the library, and the Siebel Center for Design. Together, we have put together a full palette of events taking place Tuesday through Thursday during the months of June and July. We invite you to participate in a wide variety of presentations, discussion panels, workshops, and other opportunities being offered. The QR code you see up on the 2 screens points to the full calendar of activities. Most of them will take place in person in the Armory in room 156. However, every event will also be streamed online and recorded. Once again, this QR code will be visible throughout this event. Sessions will include introductory workshops on using campus-supported AI tools, as well as demonstrations of new tools like Cyber Scholar and Arist AI, and ways to develop your own custom AI agents. We will see how faculty are using AI for, among other things, historical research, how they explore AI and Afrofuturism, how they use AI to boost creativity, for innovation in the digital humanities, for supporting ethical research practices, and much more. Once again, refer to the calendar of events and acquaint yourself with everything that's scheduled for the months of June and July. We will have panel discussions sharing useful AI resources, one discussion on writing in the age of AI, another panel conversation about hopes and hesitations about AI in higher ed. We will even include a special student panel where some incredibly bright and well-spoken students, and they are represented here today as well, they will share their own AI experiences. Additionally, we will have walk-in consultation hours where you can speak one-on-one with CITL staff who can answer your AI questions, show you how to use AI tools, and assist you with integrating AI into your courses and teaching. For now, these open walk-in hours will be held every Wednesday throughout the months of June and July. So, in summary, AI is here. It's fun, it's exciting, and it needs smart people to study it carefully. Hence, all of you being present here at this AI Showcase. We look forward to seeing you and learning with you all summer long at the Summer of AI. Once again, avail yourself of the calendar accessible through this QR code. Welcome. We'll go ahead and start the showcase in just a minute. A couple more housekeeping items. If you could please
I propose that we have 7 demonstrations altogether, each of them about 7 minutes long. Should you have any questions, please refrain from asking them until the final presentation is over. Okay, let's go through these demos one at a time, one by one. Let's keep the flow, and let's have a discussion at the end of the last session. I put out a whiteboard right there behind the other TV screen. If you have any questions and you'd like to jot down some notes, please make use of that whiteboard. Secondly, if you're presenting up here, which some of you will, please try, for the recording's sake, speak directly into the microphone as I am trying to do. If you're presenting from your own laptop computer, we have a dongle. You'll just plug it into this. We'll unplug this computer that's currently plugged in and plug your computer in. And so, without any further ado, welcome, and let's go ahead and get started with Erin. I suppose, and I told you I wouldn't be as eloquent as Michelle, I forgot about the most important thing I should have done at the beginning. I didn't introduce myself. My name is Przemek Bosak. I am the Assistant Director for Instructional Innovation with the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning. Welcome.
I didn't check the text setup beforehand. Thank you. All right, sorry. So a little technical, not difficulties, awkwardness. Speaking of which, so today I only have 7 minutes, so I'm just going to jump right in. Before my, wait a minute, let me get my timer. All right. So before my mother retired, she used to teach audiology at Penn State, and she's actually half deaf, so that inspired this conversation. She talked to me a lot about how when it came to Google Glasses, which I think maybe some of you have heard about, there's something that was a new technology that could have been really useful for assistive and accommodative technology, but unfortunately people kind of got distracted by people using them to be creepy. So when it comes to AI, one way that it can help us out is with neurodiverse learners. And I'm going to show you some statistics later on that maybe will convince you. Again, I don't have a ton of time, so I'm just going to show you a few possible strategies that you could use to help learners with ADHD, ASD, or ADHD, or executive function disorders. So here are a couple of, I just have 4, and I'm going to show you examples of 2. So ChatGPT or Copilot, you can really use either one. They're very similar. You could use it as an executive function coach, and that's one of the ones I'm going to show you an example of today. A writing scaffold, something that can help someone who's having trouble with blank page syndrome, just having trouble getting started to get off the ground. Or we could also use it to role play situations that are academic situations or social situations, or generate plain language versions of content to, after students have had a chance to struggle through the material on their own in a challenged way, to sort of help students to clarify some content. So here's an example. This is going to be working through a bioengineering assignment by creating a plan. And I think actually this would be helpful for me. So this was just an assignment I found. It's from the Utah School of Engineering at the University of Utah. And it's just an assignment, a presentation in bioengineering. Seems a little complicated. So I went and I wrote a prompt, and you'll see that the mega prompts for Copilot or ChatGPT, you can really use it in either one of these, are complicated. They don't all have to be this complicated, but if you want to get something that's a good result, you might want to take a little bit of time. You might want to provide these to your students. So this is basically just asking, you're an academic success strategist, can you break down how to complete this assignment? And as you'll see, I just fed it into Copilot, and it produced for me a couple of things. It produced a 21-day bioengineering assignment action plan. This was a lot. So this was a long way. So I actually asked it, I said, this is a lot of words for someone who's having trouble with this to begin with. Can you simplify it down? And then it just gave me this instead. So as you can see, it's working in a couple of things. It's working in, some pretty actionable steps. It's just, preliminary review of the background research, experimental design, data collection and analysis, first draft, final edits. This is actually pretty easy to read. It's using some Pomodoro technique, 25-minute focused work and 5-minute breaks. So it's taking into account different kinds of neurodiversity, and it is a way to start. And speaking of which, we only have 3 minutes, so I'm going to move right on to this. One of my research topics in grad school was Deleuze and Guattari, and they're very dense if you've ever read them. They talk about, this is an excerpt from some of their work. It's 1,000 Plateaus, Capitalism and Schizophrenia. So I said, well, that might be a little confusing. So I could see, saying after, I've given students a chance to work through the material on their own and be challenged. This might be a scaffold or an accommodation. This is ChatGPT. Now, this is a paid version, but you will get, the images may be paid, but you can get the plain text for free. And this may change as things go on. So this is something that's explaining the concept of the rhizome, the one-path hierarchy, many paths, no hierarchy, in plain language. A book is a crowd, not a solo. I like that explanation. 2 different metaphors for thinking. Obviously, you do want to go ahead and go through those and make sure they're correct. And this was just, again, I only have 1 minute and 30 seconds about now, so this is just some interesting research real quick. It says here that this is an Ernst & Young study, so however you feel about them is how you feel about them, but they looked at 300 employees at 17 organizations, and they found that 91% thought Copilot was valuable assistive technology for 300 employees with different kinds of disabilities who were neurodivergent. 85% believe Copilot can provide a more inclusive workplace. 76% thought it helped them thrive professionally. So there's some evidence that it's helpful. And then finally, this is just something that goes into the future. If for those who have difficulty reading expressions, real quick, I just asked it to tell me what this person's feeling, and it has the person's face shows strong anger or frustration. So something that we can move into for the future. And I only have about 30 seconds left, but obviously anything you do, you have to fact check, you have to read through it. You should never do this without going through it. And this is supposed to be an assistive scaffolding, not a substitute for critical thinking. So the important thing is to utilize this in a way that's part of a scaffolding product, part of the critical thinking process, and something that is assistive and not something that would replace anything that students are working forward on their own. And with that, I think my time is up. So apologies for the technical difficulties, and thank you so much for coming out today and for your time. I really appreciate it. And to you guys too. Thank you. Bye.
Oh, why is it only showing it there?
You'll only be able to see it.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. All right. Well, this will be interesting. I'm going to get a neck crick as I try to do all this. Not on my screen. It's only there. So my name is Yury Burokhovich. I am the eTexas Illinois program manager over at CITL. I'm going to try to quickly show two things. They're both kind of audio related. The first one is developed by a lab called DIA, and they're calling this the Nari text-to-speech synthesis. And it's an interesting take. They're calling it emotive speech synthesis because you can add things to it. So as you can see, maybe, well, this is fun.
There it is.
There it is.
Want me to press play?
Okay.
Yep.
Did we find it?
Yes.
All right. Okay, cool. So I'll be really careful. So, I rendered this earlier. So this is also being rendered not on a server. So this is being done on my desktop in my office. And I'm just using this MacBook to connect to it because the desktop has a little bit more VRAM at its disposal than this does. So this is all local models that I'm using.
Hello. Oh, you probably did not switch the output from to the main which part. So it's in the settings.
I'm used to just being able to plug in with my PC and it goes. So I'm really sorry. This is.
What should I sound it to? Which system, Andrew? Is a sound
Split port?
It's sending through the call.
Huh.
It's sending online, but I heard it.
Okay.
been so long.
Oh, hi, Mark. I watched The Room last night, so that made me chuckle.
That movie is wonderfully bad. Ugh.
For real. Apparently, the director thinks people love it because it's a work of art.
No way. He recently made another film called Big Shark, and it is worse.
Yeah, we could hear it online.
Okay, I can make this work. All right. Let's do this. Gonna blow up everybody's ears. Hopefully not.
It's been so long.
Oh, hi, Mark. I watched The Room last night, so that made me chuckle.
That movie is wonderfully bad. Ugh.
For real. Apparently, the director thinks people love it because it's a work of art.
No way. He recently made another film called Big Shark, and it is worse. Hell.
Yeah. So you see, very different from a lot of the other that are more dry. Like you can have this thing be as crazy as you want it. When you do these, for now, it kind of randomizes it. So I'm calling it like a mini chaos engine. For now, I would say this isn't production ready, but it is fun to play with and just to have it out there. If you really work with it, though, you probably could get a couple of things out there in script form that probably would work okay and sound all right. But yeah, it's just fun. It's just fun. The other one is called Audio. And I wanted to share this one because it was developed by Sony in collaboration with University of Illinois. Woo! Yeah. So this is a really cool tool that allows you to bring in blank video files. I shouldn't say blank, audioless video files. And it will try to render the sound just from what it's seeing on the video. And it doesn't take very long. So this is, I think it's going to do an 8-second clip. So yeah, not super impressive. Let's try a different one. And these are all like clips from silent movies. So that didn't work well. All right, here we are. And submit that one. Again, give it a few seconds. And this is also running on my desktop in my office. So yeah. So like, it's not perfect, but it's showing what we're coming to. Now, of course, this is now blown out of the water by VO3 from Google. That's doing audio, text, everything. It's doesn't hold a candle to that, but it does do some interesting things. I did this one earlier this morning. I just did a capture of myself doing stuff without making any sound. I shook my head so it thought I was a rattle. So it did this. Yeah. So yeah. Again, not perfect, but you know, you can play with it, get it to do stuff. It is showing where things are going, and that you know you can do some really cool things, like even locally on your own machines that you don't have to go out into the cloud for. So thank you. Sorry about all the sound issues and everything, and now I know maybe how to use this thing. But thank you.
just need this. Hey, everybody. Testing 1, 2. All right, cool. So I don't actually have like a lot of prepared slides. I'm gonna try and do something, or at least show you something a little bit live, which is always scary, but it's pretty cool, at least for what I've been doing. So first, I'll give a little bit of background. What? Oh, what? Oh, I don't have anything yet. I haven't actually typed anything yet. Hang on. So get out of here, Musk. All right. All right. Hi, my name is Alexander Dill, and I am the XR designer for the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning. My job is to create basically virtual environments and interactive experiences using both augmented reality, virtual reality, and any mix in between, as well as like mixed reality, to create, learning environments for classes. If there's something that already exists, we'll try to implement that. But if something doesn't exist and they have like a specific need for, let's say they want to run an experiment that there's like an old experiment where they had like rats running a maze, which is actually something I recently did. I would actually create that virtual experience for them to then the students would be able to run through the maze themselves and understand the key principles of like how the mice in the maze are able to utilize external variables in the environment to navigate back to specific points in the maze. So that's like what I do. And although I am new here and I've been really enjoying what I do, it's also kind of hard when I first meet with people to understand what their vision is. So my traditional background is in industrial design, so I'm very used to meeting with clients and understanding like their project goals, like the stakeholders involved, what their budget is. But I have kind of this list of questions that are really kind of basic that I have to ask because it helps me understand what their project's going to be, what the timeline's going to look like. But talking about that in our like first meeting with the client is kind of, it takes a lot of time away from what I'm actually interested in, which is why they care about the project. Why are they actually invested in something like this? And then why would they even choose like XR or VR or what have you? So like what excites them? Why do they want to see this become like an actual project that they can put into reality? Virtual reality, I guess. So in the past, I've had like a form, right? Like a Google form, like, all right, please fill this out. Like what's your name? What's your background? What's your like initial idea for the project? Like, what's your budget? What's the scope? Like your intended audience, yada, 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 yada. And it's as a first introduction to like beginning this project, it can be a little daunting and honestly a little off-putting where it's like, maybe they have just this idea in their head where they want to go out and make something. But then I'm like, all right, fill out this form. And they're like, I don't know what my budget is. Like, I don't know what any of this means. Like, what do you mean by scope? Or like I don't know what the intended audience yet. I just had this idea and I want to make something. So I've been thinking to myself, what can I do to actually help myself kind of get like fast track to our first one-to-one meeting that actually gets into why they're interested, why they're excited, and then like start to hear about their passions and how I can integrate that into the project. Because if I can get that, like their personality and their passion integrated into the project, it'll have a more successful project overall. So what I need is I need a form that can answer questions. And so that's where generative AI comes in. And specifically, I was doing Copilot first because like, okay, I envision this as like a chatbot, right? So if you've ever been to like some of these websites now, like if you're trying to troubleshoot something on like a website, now there's like these integrated chatbots where you can start to ask questions like, okay, well, my computer's not doing the thing I need it to do. It's like, okay, can you try running through these steps rather than calling someone and having to like answer that and then having to like walk through everything and you get to turn it off, turn it on again. You can have a AI basically do a lot of that heavy lifting. And then if they still can't figure out the problem, then they put you forward to a human. So that's kind of the vibe that I wanted. I wanted something that could be friendly, approachable, and answer some of these initial like quantitative questions so that when I have my first one-on-one meeting with them, I can get deeper into the qualitative questions that I have. So I first started off with Copilot. Copilot is one of the approved AI here on campus, and I was getting some really good results. But I was having a little bit of trouble trying to integrate it into like how would I embed this into a website. Eventually, we're going to update our website so that it will include something like this. And then I found out that we actually have a fantastic resource already on campus here called Illinois Chat. So that's what I did. So I'm going to go quickly here to Illinois Chat. Just going to make sure I'm getting the address right. So UIC dot chat / Aida. All right, so this is Aida, my artificial intelligent design assistant. Her role is to basically ask some of these questions initially and get a lot of that like quantitative feedback. And then she will, like, her goal is to just ask the questions that I normally would on that form, but then she's able to answer questions about the questions on the form, if that makes sense. So if they're ever stuck during any part of the process, she can basically walk them through some of these steps. And so that at the very end of the conversation, what will happen is she will then like create a summary of like what we talked about and kind of fill out that form, like project scope, all those things, and then send that message to me via Teams. The via Teams part is still a work in progress. I'm trying to figure out how to integrate those two. But the end result will be that I will have a catalog of kind of this, like the interaction with the user, and then it's like a good first impression. And then eventually I'll be able to integrate this into our website. So let me go ahead and sign in really quick. I'm gonna have to do the two-factor authentication here. That's not me. I know. Oh dear Lord. All right, hang on. Give me a sec. Let me just go back. What I was going to do is I was going to show you some of the previous chat logs and like kind of go through those questions, kind of try and run through. But we're doing it live. So let's go ahead and do it. So basically her first response is, hello, I'm Aida, the XR Designer's Artificial Intelligent Design Assistant, and her role is to help gather information on any ideas or concepts you might have for an XR experience, and then relay them to me. So I wanted to make it clear that this is an artificial being, right? It's an artificial chatbot that's then going to communicate everything here to a real person. So then that real person will have a scheduled in-person meeting with them later on. But this is just like that first like jump into this process. So let's say, hello, Aida. I have an idea for an XR project. Can you help? There we go. Nice. So what I've tried to do is I've actually tried to embed a lot of how I would ask these questions initially, like on the form, and try to make it really approachable, personal, and respond in a way that tries to keep them going, tries to keep them engaged, tries to get them to elaborate a little bit further without like trying to push heavy or just be like, fill out these bullet points. So what I'm going to call her personality is that she's going to try and have that one-on-one conversation. She's not going to ask multiple questions in a row. She's just going to try and like have a natural conversation with the client. So my name is Alex, if I can spell my name correctly. And we are station that allows students to, just because I talked about it, sure, whatever. All right. So then
Thank you for sharing your idea about creating a video application. Can you tell me more about this initial concept of the project? Like what inspires you to create such an experience? What aspects are particularly exciting or important to you? And I'm not going to go through the entire thing because I don't think I have enough time. Yeah, so I don't have enough time. But basically, I can't dive into her brain. Dang. Another thing I was going to show was just like how I structured her thought process, how she asked questions. But to summarize, and I can actually pull it up here. So I have this on my tablet. So let's go here. I can't share this with you, but I can at least use my voice to talk. So let's go into her prompting. So I'll give a basic explanation of what she does. So I told her, told UIUC chat this. You are Ada, an artificial intelligent design assistant tasked with collecting key insights from clients on potential AR, VR, and XR projects. And I gave her a little bit of parameters of what those actually mean. To help the XR designer at the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning at UIUC better understand project goals. Your role is strictly informational. You cannot promise anything or create content, but can log questions for further discussion with Alex, the XR designer. In my testing, we found that sometimes she would like try to become me and like start to generate things and like maybe overpromise little things. So I tried to be very specific on she cannot promise you anything. She cannot generate anything for you. Her role is just to collect information and nothing more. She is that form that I have come to life, basically, as a design assistant. Now you might be asking why use AI for this? Well, you know, I'm just a guy. I'm just one me. But sometimes I need a little bit of help of like filling out these things, right? So by utilizing AI, which by the way, any of you guys can do this. Like if you have an account here, you can create something like this. Like I have never created a chatbot in my life, but just through my experience of like going through this process and asking these questions, I was able to create something like this that so far is really good. So I would like to thank you for your time, and hopefully this inspires you to, if you have an idea for something like this in the future, take a look at this.
I'd like to make a brief announcement to all the presenters, and this is for the benefit of our friends who are joining us on Zoom. Please speak directly into the microphone as much as you can help, but you can take it off. You can take it off the clip. It doesn't have to be on the clip. You can just hold it in your hand. You can take it off and hold it in your hand. But we're hearing that they're having some trouble hearing the speakers.
You're presenting or asking a question a little bit later on, have your mouths as close to the microphone as possible, please, for the benefit of the online viewers.
So MC Escher, how many people know who MC Escher is? How many people don't know? You've seen him anyway. So Escher's a famous Dutch artist who's done a lot of work, and is album covers and rock and roll and the hippie movement and all kinds of things. So you've kind of seen him everywhere. But this is MC Escher versus AI. So human art versus AI art. The good news is humans have won already, because when we think of art, what we appreciate about art sometimes is the biography of the person, the feelings, the expression, the culture, the history, right? If you buy something at the farmer's market, or if you hang something on your wall that from a famous person, that comes with a story and feelings and a life and a connection and the humanness. AI was born in 2000, GPT was born in 2020, right? And as a small child, AI, right, it's not there, right? But what I'm gonna try to show you today is Escher on the technical and scientific side actually beats AI at the moment. So that's the cute line about, you know, they've beat us in chess, but they haven't beat us in art yet. So Escher, part of his technique was he had so many different techniques: woodcuts, lithograph, mesotints. These were very intricate techniques. Famous woodcut, the lithograph, hand reflecting spheres. He was also very famous for optical illusions and strange perspectives. If you look at this environment, I'd ask you, how many flat level planes of gravity are there? I kind of tried to look at it yesterday. It's like, I mean, in other words, how many ups are there? I'm seeing 6 or 7 there. A lot of self-reflexive stuff and perspectives. All right, so now there's a pattern here. So I'm asking everybody, what's the pattern here? Do you see a pattern? Do you see a pattern? What's the pattern? For our online folks, what's the pattern here? Does anybody know what the pattern Escher got his entire life? When he was a kid, Dutch, they get bread and cheese and pieces of cheese, and he would like, a friend reminded him when he was a kid, he would like try to perfectly place the cheese on top to totally cover the bread in intricate ways. So this was a lifelong obsession with him. Well, the cool thing is this is called regular division of the plane, which is a science, math, geometry thing, or you can impress your friends, tessellation. Well, I was just learning about tessellation today at the Summer of AI. And it's basically repeating geometric shapes without gaps or overlaps that fill the entire plane. Tessellation. So Escher, there's a science behind this. Who knows what crystallography is? Vishal, come on. You know crystal. We study crystals in the world. They're molecular and their structure, because crystals are repeated patterns that intricately connect and can turn into giant crystals in caves in Mexico and stuff. So, and scientists study that because there's a mathematics and a unity to that that is kind of just there, that you can only do it in so many ways. Escher, when he was early in his career, he visited the Alhambra, which is a famous castle and fortress in Granada, Spain, which with amazing Islamic art. And they were very interested in patterns that could be repeated and connected in intricate ways. And Escher was inspired by these, and so these tiles, they can interlock forever in curious and interesting ways. That inspired Escher to one of his early drawings. This was a sketch he did all the way back in 1922 when he stayed up all night doing this after he had visited the Alhambra. If you buy wallpaper or fabric, sometimes you're dealing with tessellations. And that's been around for hundreds of years. All right, so here's the challenge. Escher, how are we doing? We've got Escher here, and we've got AI here. Dave Hallman article about him using Midjourney. So this is an interesting image. A lot of chiaroscuro, the darks and the lights are very prominent. It's kind of a cool thing. But how many ups are there on this one? Just kind of one, sorry. Correct, it's kind of cool. It is doing some fun stuff. This little stairway that goes into the corner and back down, and Stairway to Nowhere, Zeppelin song, I think. Here's a second one. This gets a little more interesting, but if you study it, it's like, what happened there? That's kind of interesting. But here's a classical optical illusion. Escher has water somehow going uphill. How did that happen? I don't know. That's not possible. I asked Escher to do, I kind of love the lizards and the animals and the tessellations he does, but this is Firefly's attempt when I asked it to do MC Escher. I mean, it's kind of a cool image. Lizards losing tails, having multiple tails. It's kind of neat in its own way, but it's definitely not Escher. Very simplistic. Here's dragons in Escher style, kind of neat. Here's Firefly kind of doing a wallpaper thing. It is, you'd have to study this. The scientists would have to study this. So it's repetition, and it looks like it could be wallpaper, but I don't know, the two-headed lizard's kind of interesting. I like that. Another good lizard wallpaper for your kids' bedroom or playroom or something. And then if you look at some of Escher's stuff, it's just pretty amazing work he does that sort of transcends things. This is one of his famous pieces. And I need to go back to our innovation studio and 3D print the lizards so they can interlock forever. So anyway, that's MC Escher versus AI. And the good news for us humans is there's still hope for us. So thank you.
Hold this into a demo. My name is Vishal. I'm a faculty in the Geese College of Business. Let me zoom in. I guess I can't zoom in. So I'll explain what you're seeing on the screen for those who are at the back. So I play around with these tools a lot for in-class use and, of course, all the chat bots and all of that stuff. So what I'm demonstrating today is the use of a tool that sort of allows you to get AI in context of your workflow rather than you having to take context to AI, right? Use it on the web, or you saw a demo with, UIUC chat, you saw a demo with the Hugging Face, right? All of these require you take your context, right? System prompts, file uploads, whatever, right? That is our dominant method of using these tools today, but I'm going to demonstrate to you a tool that allows you to bring AI to your file system. And I'm not a coder, I'm just a business professor. So if I can do it, all of you can, right? So basically this is my desktop, which is not clean, 500 screenshots besides some of my folders. So I'm going to start there and demonstrate a tool called Claude Code and a few workflows. And I'm not a super user, so it's essentially unlimited what you can do by bringing AI to your context, right? To your file system, to your documents, to your workflows, whatever the case may be. That's the basic mental model to use, right? So I put out a job for students to apply to for the summer. So I think I have 8 applications. My workflow, I was trying, and this is like half an hour back I started this, right? Because I had another demo planned, didn't seem very interesting, so I changed it. So I said, okay, I've got to review some resumes for a job application. So the resumes are here, and these were all named resumes. So while I was sitting here, I said, I can't obviously show resumes on the screen with names. I said, hey, AI, I'll show you how I do it. Change all of these, anonymize the resumes, and it automatically understood context that person, cover letter, person, resume, change it, and put it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I also added a file. I guess it does magnify a bit. So somewhere along there, there is a resume evaluation framework that is there, even if you can't see it, which I also had the AI create by giving it the job description. So there is a job description here. It created a text file and then created a framework. I can open the framework and show you. And okay, one hand demos are not going to be easy. But you can see it created a nice clear headings, a rubric. You can modify the rubric before you apply it to the resumes, right? So now going in, oh, so this is sort of me invoking the AI gods to work in my terminal. The Summer of AI directory that I showed you earlier is the active directory. So now this AI tool is ready to listen to my commands and then apply the LLM logic to work with the files in context of my workflow. And I think I'll have to put it back. So so you can see that it is sort of sending stuff back to the cloud. So this is using an API. It's using the Claude language model, and it so I'm basically saying, normal language, it's doing something, it's reverting back with some errors, it can actually fix stuff. I can set it on autopilot, otherwise it keeps asking me, do you want me to do this? Do you want me to do this? It's installing some stuff, it's converting PDFs to text, it's reading the rubric that it created, and, oh, sorry, name came up, doesn't handle confidentiality too well. So we'll pretend you didn't read that. So now it's evaluating the rubric, it's evaluating the resume, which it has converted, and now it gives me a recommendation for this applicant with some recommendations on how I should interview the person as well, right? So API can be set up, not very difficult. The tool is bringing AI to your context. I have 1 minute, I'll demonstrate some other workflows. So this is a code base. We are developing an application. So I can invoke, now these tools itself have become smart, but I can invoke this sort of AI right here. And if I don't know what I'm doing, it say explain stuff to me, what is going on, what is this repository doing? It will evaluate. This is my own repository, so students are working on it. So I know, but you might just find something on the web and saying, okay, explain it to me. The context is on your computer, but you're invoking this AI so that it can bring its capability and make it act on your context. So while this does something, I can also sort of show you if you need to bring context from the web back to you. And I'm not writing any code. Let me work with this content. So there's a AI for beginners course that I found online. I have no idea what to do with it. I'm just saying, hey, help me out here. It asks me a few questions. It'll pull that content down here, and then I can start asking questions, right? And that's my time. So thank you so much. But basic idea, make AI work on your context on your computer without having to go outside. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am Shanika Glover. I am the communications coordinator here at CITL. And so right now I'm going to show you more about Canva. Canva is a creative tool that majority marketers and communicators use for a quicker way to actually create graphics, video, audio, every creative thing you can think of, Canva does. So the difference between Canva and Canvas, because Canvas is a tool for course document, but Canva is universally used. And so here, really with Canva, I'm going to show you multiple ways to use it. But right now, Canva is a graphic. So you can, step one, include a graphic or a short video, and that has audio or no audio. So I actually went on my tabs. Can you hear me? You good? Okay, great. So you can actually go into Canva, and on your tab bar here, you usually can insert, upload a graphic, or audio, or choose a graphic that you want, drop it in. Step two, we're gonna add some AI music AI that's already generated from Canva. So with Canva, they have an integrated app here. I click on the AI music. Usually this is free, but if you have a paid version, it's unlimited, right? But let's say I wanted a good, happy, or epic, expressive, right? You can choose how many different themes you want, and 25 seconds is the limit at this current moment. And so click compose. We're gonna wait and see how long it takes. Loading. Okay, we're there. So now I can add it to my design, but let's try to listen to it. Let's see if we can get some audio with it. Can you hear it? So it sounds really dark, unfortunately. But AI can be dark, very fun, all what you make of it. And so I add this audio to my design, and it usually populates under the specific slide or graphic that you choose to add this audio. It's 25 seconds long. You can make it shorter. You can make any updates that you want as far as fading it, change the volume, or even the sync here. There is an option to enhance voice if you want your own voice audio recorded with this option, but that's really the paid version. We're on the free version. Okay, so that is a great way to really add AI music using Canva. And then the next one that I'm going to show you is a new addition. They truly started this year. So the beginning of the year, Canva has a big conference that they highlight new trends and tools that they really implement. And so one cool thing was Canva AI Assist. And so earlier you heard about ChatGPT, you've heard about the integration of great creative design and Illustrator. Well, Canva has an assistant for you. And so there's not much audio to this video, but in this video, it's showing that Canva AI Assist, you can insert any themes that you want implemented. They will draft up a good design for you and be able to have that AI music added to it and then have a big old slideshow for you. And for this presentation, I can be honest, I did use AI Assist to help me kind of get a good general idea and theme that I want to use and be able to push that forward. Another cool thing with Canva is you can do mock-ups. A lot of mock-up designs can come in regards to going back to the tab, go into elements. You can tap in a good mock-up that you want to choose. And usually they provide a good list of mock-ups if it's a t-shirt, a mug, a laptop, and it just give you a good platform just to start off with that. And so I used a good mock-up with the computer laptop system Gen AI, and I just implemented a good graphic that highlights our Summer of AI event, and that came from the good uploads here. Of course, I can move my AI music to make it a little more punctual and lively, but this is a cool mock-up here as well. And thank you so much for learning more about Canva. You can scan this QR code, which I generated using Canva QR code here. Just implemented a quick QR code to learn more about Canva AI. Even, of course, you are here for our kickoff event and all things Summer of AI. So, of course, take some time to complete our survey at the end of this event. I'm going to pass it along to the next speaker. Thank you.
So this next and final speaker is myself. I will not be focusing on a specific tool. What I will share with you is, so I recently completed a trip to Europe. And when I say recently, I came back this weekend. And so I spoke with some of our colleagues, really people from academia, in a couple of European countries, and I'll share their perspectives on generative AI from across across the ocean. The first place I visited was Austria. One of my best friends way back from graduate school, John Wilson, he currently works as a researcher at the University of Vienna. His specialty is the music of Beethoven. I asked him about his specific, impressions of AI, how he utilizes it, and while he said his specific research area is incredibly niche, so he doesn't really have a whole lot of use for generative AI yet. Some of his colleagues in the music department and other departments are using it for text scanning and deciphering, some of the old manuscripts, for instance, notes, sketchbooks, things of that nature. People back then were writing with, goose quills and ink with very bad lighting available, and those materials are very old. John tells me that they are quite useful. AI is quite useful for deciphering and codifying and transcribing those old artifacts. He did, however, say that DeepSeek impressed them quite, it caught them by surprise, but they were actually quite unimpressed with its capabilities, and especially with how cheaply it was made. And I'll go back to that idea just because that specific aspect of AI is at the forefront of people's thinking in Europe for the reasons I'll specify in just a moment. What you see in the photo is, I'm not kidding, Beethoven's favorite coffee. I went to one of his favorite restaurants, and that is espresso at the bottom, a lot of heavy cream and cinnamon on top. The Belvedere Museum in Vienna, they had a really, really cool project. Gustav Klimt, their probably most famous Austrian painter, was commissioned to paint the ceiling at the University of Vienna. Those paintings were destroyed in a fire in 1945. And the only documentation that they have of those paintings were black and white photos and historical accounts, people's written impressions of them. They used AI. They hired a couple of art historians and computer scientists. And with the aid of AI, they were able to recreate the paintings of Gustav Klimt as much as that's possible. I'm reading this description that I saw at the museum. In part of the digital platform Klimt versus Klimt, developed by Google Arts and Culture in cooperation with the Belvedere Museum, an attempt was made to reconstruct the original colors of the paintings. Artificial intelligence played an essential role in the project. Now, for the first time, the ceiling paintings can be viewed in color in their original size and arrangement on the ceiling, going from left to right in the photo. The one on the left describes or portrays medicine, the field of medicine, the middle one, law, the right one, philosophy. Something that was incredibly surprising. On my first or second day in Vienna, I went into a little deli. I wanted to purchase a box of cookies, and I couldn't. I didn't have any cash on me, and credit card payments were not allowed. I was told by the clerk that that's not uncommon. There are vendors, and I ran across multiple such vendors, stores, businesses that are only at the moment accepting cash payments. What wound up happening over the last approximately 6 months, they have had two outages. The banking system has had two outages in Vienna. Their servers are just not powerful to support the amount of transactions that we're going through. And so as a consequence, as I said, there have been recently two-day banking outages in Austria. So some businesses, in order to to keep the cash flow going, have simply gone back, and they're not accepting credit card payments anymore. So that's important, is because we know how power hungry generative AI is. Okay, we're not talking about AI. We're just talking about a central banking system that's having trouble powering up, their needs. So, AI is requires orders of magnitude more energy than what they're struggling with. So just thinking this got me thinking about what the future of AI is, and smaller countries, for instance, that they don't generate their own nuclear power, for instance, and how they're going to be faced with this, what is, an inevitable future, the future of AI, but, how infrastructure is going to play a central, crucial part to the development of AI, which we in this country, don't have any trouble with at the moment anyway, but we're seeing that this is a real struggle for, in some parts, in a major city of Vienna, a big European city. Then I went to Poland, and what you're seeing in the photo is the National Academy of Natural Sciences and the monument of Copernicus. My family lives in rural Poland. I spent a week there with my cousin, who owns a pretty sizable farm. He grows a number of crops. And he was, picking my brains about my job and what I do, and what about AI, which he hasn't seen much of in his work. But one day we were sitting at a dinner table. I was teasing him, soon enough you won't even have to, because I saw him hitch up a feeder to his tractor and go into the field and fertilize the crops. And I said, soon enough you won't have to do that. You'll just tell a machine to go into the field. And sure enough, he said he hasn't seen one, but there are already self-driving sprayers and fertilizers and floaters and feeders that I wasn't certainly aware of. But at this university, we have a huge, the College of Agriculture. I suppose they're seeing these things already. My cousin hasn't, but he's aware of these things. That was really surprising to me. Self-driving cars. Okay, I can understand that. But evidently, the field of agriculture is already investing in such things. My cousin, for instance, has a machine, a little gizmo that he hooks up to the sprayer. He doesn't have to calculate anything anymore. The size of the field, the moisture of the ground, or the density of the crops. The machine calculates it all and applies the amount of chemicals accordingly to the data that it collects in real time. And one more perspective from the United States. When I landed at O'Hare on Sunday, and the question, what's a passport? Are they becoming obsolete? They didn't even check my passport anymore. I stood in front of a little scanner. It scanned my face, took about 10 seconds, if that, maybe less. Then the guy said, "Sir, anything to declare?" "No, you're good to go." That was it. That was my. I was in Italy in January, and when I came back, they scanned or looked at my passport. I spoke with the clerk. This time, no, just a simple scan. You're good to go. So customs and border protection, and these things are evidently also heavily utilizing AI nowadays, to a point at which, I did not really need my passport in order to return to the United States. That's all the slides that I have. Thanks for your attention. We do have about 15 minutes for questions. If anybody has any, we will utilize the 2 microphones. The Zoom audience also has an opportunity to ask questions using the Q&A chat function, not the regular chat. There is a separate one called Q&A. Please utilize that. Andrew will be monitoring the questions. Any questions, any comments, anything? Otherwise, have a nice time. Okay. We can stick around here for another. We have the room reserved until 11:30. Let's mingle. Let's get to know each other. Let's talk. If there aren't any questions, please once again avail yourself. Yes, I know. Avail yourself of the calendar through the QR code. I'll stop talking, I promise, in just a very short moment. And but I did want to express our gratitude to the Siebel Center for Design for hosting this Gen AI Showcase. We could not host it back at the at the CITL. So thanks for their generosity and for their hospitality. Thank you all who helped out with to get this event going, especially Andrew, who's doing a lot, recording, monitoring the chat, monitoring the Zoom. So that's it. I'd better quit. We have about 15 minutes to spend however you guys want to spend it.
Przemek, thank you for sharing about the AI in agriculture. I don't have a question, but I would like to say I saw something similar last year. Like this was on campus. Some students and professors, they're developing a unit, where they have like a robot. It goes and senses and sees if there is any pest and then sprays the pesticide only in that particular area. It's not spraying all over. So that way they're saving a lot on the pesticide, and also it's not spreading on the full plant.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Yeah.
I'd ask a question. Oh, here we go. Great, thank you.
Thank you. I'm a student just graduated from the high school. I own an AI startup on campus. And some of the challenges we're facing is we are creating the AI influencer marketing automation tool that automates influencer marketing campaign that has a very high operational cost for marketers around the globe. However, besides the engineering students who can code, students who can create a product, we also need someone who has like expertise in marketing, decades of experience in marketing, and that's like really hard to find on campus. So we have the technology, we know how to use the APIs, but to implement that, we also need, experts in the field. So I'm just wondering, how do we, as students, navigate that challenge and find those experts?
I don't think I'm the best person to answer this question, but I'll try as best as I can since I'm at the microphone. Unfortunately, Vishal had to leave. He's the School of Business professor. I would say that would be your best bet. And correct me, people, if I'm wrong. One of the strongest business schools in the country. I think you would be hard pressed not to find someone who would be able to help you with with Shri. You want to add on?
let me clarify, you're looking for students who have expertise in marketing? Okay. The actual, have you tried on LinkedIn? Connecting with people on LinkedIn? That's a good place to start with too. Okay, I think we can meet one-on-one later and then discuss more this in detail.
If there any other questions, because I had a question for the audience. I've got a theory because everybody I talk to uses AI perhaps for something, and then they don't use AI intentionally for reasons. But I'm just, is that true for, and we covered a lot of things today, but anybody just have a quick use case? I use it for this, but I don't want to use it for that.
I'm a writer for Granger Marketing and Communications. I use a program called Grammarly. Not only for correcting typos and things like that, but also to check voice for a particular project, or sometimes even to check an abstract in a paper, because I have to cover a lot of technical things, and so sometimes I just say plain English, please. I do all my own writing, yeah. I don't. There's an ego thing involved in that. That I won't go into, plus considerable expense at a young time in my life to get a degree. So I tend not to do that, but I could if I wanted to, and then oftentimes it will rephrase something, and I will check its rephrasing against mine and see if that's something I would like to do. And probably 20 to 40% of the time, I take the suggestion.
Others?
Yeah. Hi, Robert. Yeah, sorry to those who were on the Zoom that couldn't hear me earlier. I'll try to speak clearer into the microphone this time. But one of my previous talks that I did, I talked about vibe coding, and I talked about using Claude specifically to be an extra set of eyes when I'm writing code, like if I'm running into troubleshooting or something like that. So I like to write the code myself. I'm weird like that. When I program things, I like to actually write the code, because then I can like build those. It's almost just like repetition. Like why would I sketch using my hand when I could just have something generate an image? It's because I want to build my own personal skill. But I like using AI to have basically like an extra set of eyes. And I mentioned in my last talk like a rubber duck method, where there's this basically troubleshooting method of you talk to a rubber duck, and just you talking to something and hearing your own voice out loud helps you to kind of solve your own problems internally. But now that rubber duck can actually talk back to me. And so I use it in a lot of other different things, like for creative writing, to help just like, hey, I've got this idea. Could you take a look at it and just give me some feedback? I don't use it to generate the writing. I'm doing the writing, but I'm asking it just to give me some insights or opinions, some things that I would normally have to go to another human or someone, which I still do, to actually ask those opinions. But I tend to do the skills myself because I want to build those skills. But I don't think anyone should be afraid to just, it's like asking like a peer saying, hey, could you take a look at this? Now, of course, it's not always going to be like quote unquote correct or like accurate data. But then again, talking to a human being will also sometimes give the same result. So I just want to say
No,
that.
I love the rubber duck as confidant or my buddy. Well, I'm going to put a young friend on the spot, because he just graduated from architecture and he told me he's doing some music now. So are you using AI, not using AI?
Yeah, I would say I use a lot of like ChatGPT for organization, especially like organizing data, because you can really go pretty far with how you like make a ChatGPT prompt, because it's machine learning, so it basically just feeds off like what you put into it. So you can make it as specific as you want, and it's really good for gathering like data and sources. As for music, I haven't really dug in to AI that much, but there's definitely like artists in the field kind of like innovating with that as well too.
My other theory is that the more we have technology and AI and stuff, the more we have the analog stuff, you know, and I love art. I love going into the architecture buildings and see the students because there's popsicle sticks and clay and paper. So that's still going on. You design something or sketch something?
Yeah, right. Like specifically for architecture, like I don't think like AI could like you can't really do that with AI because you need to have the personal like human input to be able to get the correct feedback and also the right information as well. Oh, and then also like another thing important, like say with architecture or design in general, is also like the mind to body like connection. So you need to actually like do stuff to like understand it on a deeper level of like what you're actually creating.
You know, the whole kinesthetic, we walk through buildings, we sit down, we move, we see the light in different angles and all that stuff. So any other last? Yeah.
I'm a associate professor in the microbiology department. And just a month ago, I had a friend who is in the design school at Stanford. She came to visit. And so she was showing me a little bit of the AI. I have not used much. But it just blew my mind of like, I had posters from my students. She just uploaded them. I don't know what she was using. And because I wanted to make a story, because I was going to go give talks. And I was like, tell it to like make a story about dance. And just from the posters, it was able to make these really amazing stories. And then I study proteins and how these proteins organize the chromosome and how it's a beautiful dance, I thought. And so then she was making it into a visual, like a little video. And so there are these dancers, and you know, in the Olympics that they use the ribbons, but the ribbons became the DNA. And so it was just, I was, whoa, this is amazing. And I used it in my talks, and I think I was able to really show how I was thinking of the complexities, but how beautiful all these things that have to come together for cells to grow and divide. And in my class, I usually have the students read papers and come out, like synthesize the 3 punchlines. And I realized that I can do it in 3 seconds. And so this is why I'm here. And I'm going to be here over the summer to figure out. So I love the talks just to have AI help them, right? But still, they need to have the critical thinking. And so thank you. I've enjoyed this a lot. Oh, but my original question was, will the videos be recorded or just on Zoom?
Andrew?
Yeah, they're recorded.
Oh, so we can go back and look at them. Ah, thank you so much.
Yeah, those will be put up later.
So real quick, I do want to add one thing about usage, something that we're doing because we deal with a ton of documents and we have to make sure that they're accessible. And honestly, seeing the audience that we have, this is probably the thing that I should have demoed. But we use a lot of vision models. So when we are dealing with documents that have charts, infographics, and figures, we're running them through certain vision models, including one from Google that is able to convert the charts into HTML, do the table. So anything that are images, it'll convert it for us. And then if there's complicated things, it will try to explain it. So we then take that and we'll put that in detailed descriptions. So it's more than just alt text. Since alt text does have a character limit, we can provide paragraphs of information describing this image that normally users with sight impairments would not be able to truly have that information. So that's how we're using it also.
Well, I'll hand it over to Przemek to wrap up.
Thank you all for your attendance. We will conclude this event, or the formal part of it. I don't think our hosts will mind if we stick around for another 20 minutes for maybe some, unofficial, mingling and discussions and introductions. That I think that'd be quite useful. But as far as the formal event, it was scheduled to end at 11:30, and we're going to stick to our word. We'll close the Zoom session in just a moment as well. So thank you all who were with us remotely. And once again, I know I've said it numerous times, but you know, avail yourselves of all or at least some of the summer of AI events that are on the calendar. There may be more additions, even a couple more additions. We're still, you know, think we still have a couple of open dates. But for the moment, thank you. It's nice to see you all. Enjoy your summer vacations, and we look forward to collaborating with you on AI projects or otherwise. Thank you very much.